Manchester, North England, the world's first industrial city and home to the mighty Manchester United and Man City. You could cause an argument in a pub talking about these two teams, but one thing that most people can agree on is that this city has produced some of the biggest and best bands and artists in the history of music. Manchester's sister town Stockport is only a mere 5 miles away, and it too has its own rich heritage within the music scene. From Salford to Burnage and from Stockport to Manchester city centre, join us as we stop by some iconic locations, share with you some beautiful artefacts, we travel to the childhood homes of some of the biggest bands and visit some world famous venues and hotspots that really put this golden part of the country on the map. A place that I proudly call home and somewhere that I'd like to live forever. Welcome to the Manchester and Stockport Music Tour. Welcome to Manchester, probably the coolest city in the world and the home of what was the Hacienda nightclub. The Hacienda nightclub became world famous during the Manchester years of the late 1980s and early 1990s, fostering the acid house and rave scene. Sadly, it closed its doors in 1997 and has since become very sought after, prestigious apartments. Here we are, right outside the Hacienda, which as you can see, I've just mentioned, is now apartment blocks. This venue was absolutely instrumental in the start of the careers for Oasis, Stone Roses, the Happy Mondays, and a Bezzin. To seek what you never could own. Now, speaking of ownership, the Hacienda was owned by Tony Wilson, renowned for also owning Factory Records. Now, we're going to take a walk down there soon, but first, we're going to pop inside the Hacienda apartments and look at a beautiful artefact. Yeah, let's we are now. Here we are inside the Hacienda apartments. I'm with Jason. Hello, Jason.
Hi there, you alright?
So, Jason's kindly come out and he's told us about a really important piece of history from the Hacienda, which is this. Jason, can you tell us a bit about this?
Yeah, so initially the flooring that you can see behind this was from the actual original dance floor of the Hacienda prior to it being deconstructed. And this is actually all we've got left. It's got a nice bit of ice in there, kindly displayed on the wall.
No way, that is crazy. Do you mind if I go and have a little touch of that?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
So, we've had Bez dancing on here. We've had Ian Brown on here. We've had Liam Gallagher on here. Wow, that is crazy. Right, let's take that home with us. The man himself, Mr. Tony Wilson. Now here we are outside Factory Records, which Tony opened in 1978 and closed in 1992. Some of Manchester's most famous bands recorded their work here, ranging from the Happy Mondays, a little bit of Bezzin, the Sex Pistols, New Order, and probably most notably, Joy Division. Now as a fun fact, Factory opened in 2010 again, but as a nightclub. And I tell you what, it was one of the most crazy nightclubs in Manchester, and that's coming first hand. I could tell you some stories there, but maybe save that for another day. I didn't see that before. Now that is one true statement. So here we are at the AO Arena in Manchester, also known as the Manchester Arena, or for you old school guys out there, the MEN Arena. Now every artist and band you could ever think of, pretty much, has played in this arena. But sadly, on a more sombre note, it's also the location of the May 22nd, 2017 terrorist attack, which sadly killed 22 innocent people. This eye-watering memorial lays just yards away from where the bomb was tragically set off. It pays tribute to all those who innocently left home that night to go and watch an Ariana Grande gig, but who sadly never got to walk back through their doors. Now, one of the most influential bands of the 1980s is the Smiths. Not just for Manchester, not just for the UK, but maybe the whole world. They inspired an absolute generation and a wave of bands that came after them, truly carving their name in rock and roll, in pop, and in indie culture. The Smiths. Regarded as one of the most important acts to emerge from the British independent music scene, with an array of timeless records, such as This Charming Man, Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now, What Difference Does It Make? And my personal favourite, There Is a Light That Never Goes Out. But which album was that from again? Of course, we're outside Salford Lads Club, the backdrop for the world famous The Queen Is Dead album, by the one and only, the Smiths. Salford Lads Club, everybody! Now, the Smiths chose Salford Lads Club for the cover of The Queen Is Dead. To contrast a lot of the albums of the 1980s, a lot of the album covers were very glam rock, very, very perfect, very arty, and the Smiths lads wanted it to be quite edgy, quite close to home, and represent their true roots. And if a double-decker bus crashes into us, to die by your side. I will go out tonight. Now, the combination of Johnny Marr and Morrissey, it never really works on paper. You've got Morrissey's downer, sombre, almost depressing like lyrics, paired with Johnny Marr's upbeat melodies and high energy riffs. It never ever should have worked. But for some reason, it was an absolute perfect partnership. Now, the Smiths are often cited as being the greatest Manchester band of all time. But of course, that's always up for debate. Let's take our first trip down the road to Stockport and to an iconic recording studio, most notable for where Joy Division recorded the beautifully painful song Love Will Tear Us Apart. Strawberry Studios, Stockport, some of the biggest artists and bands this country has ever produced, recorded at this studio. Joy Division, the Smiths, Paul McCartney, the Stone Roses, really some of the finest bands of this country. Strawberry Studios, everybody. It's just your job talking and telling me lies. The Bee Gees lived there. Barry, Morris and Robin, the brothers Gibb, the Bee Gees. Certainly one of music history's most recognisable and famous acts. The three lads spent some of their formative years in this very house in Chorlton, Manchester, where they first learned to play the guitar and where they practised and perfected their distinctive harmonies for hours on end. Their broad catalogue of music spanned for over 5 decades. The Saturday Night Fever soundtrack was some of their most popular music and certainly propelled them into megastardom, making them household names in the 1970s. Manufacturers of some of the most catchy and well-known songs of all time, Night Fever, Staying Alive, You Win Again, More Than a Woman, How Deep Is Your Love, to name a few. But they also wrote for an array of other huge artists, Barbra Streisand, Diana Ross, Al Green, Dionne Warwick, Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers. The list goes on. Love them or hate them, they are certainly music legends. More than a woman, the Bee Gees lived in this house. More than a woman to me, yeah. Hello, hello. Welcome to Stockport. Welcome to the home of Blossoms. The indie pop 5-piece who formed in 2013 have spent the last 9 years climbing the music ladder through hard work, grit and determination. From playing local pubs to crowds of 15 people, to supporting the mighty Stone Roses at the Etihad, and main stage in festivals all over the world. Knowing the Charlemagne lads personally, I can honestly say that they are that down to earth, and if they were any more laid back, they would be horizontal. I've backed this band to do great things from day dot, and it's so great to see them reaching their potential and getting bigger and bigger all the time. The Blossoms pub, Stockport. Legend has it that Tom and Miles, or Tom and Joe, coming down this road, the A6 on the bus, discussing band names. What can we call the band? And then they went past this pub, the Blossoms. There you have it. Great band, great pub, the Blossoms. Welcome to Stockport School, arguably the greatest school in the history of school. Now 4 of the 5 Blossoms went to this school. Tom, Joe, Josh and Miles all went to this school. Charlie went to a rival school up the road. Fun fact for you, PDC darts player Nathan the Asp Aspinall, 2-time world semi-finalist and UK Open champion on a 170 checkout, also went to this school, as did I. Now just to think that 4 lads who shared the same classroom now share the same stage at Glastonbury. What a story. Morning glory. What's the story, morning glory? Well, now when you think of Manchester music, most people think of one band, the supermassive and biblical Oasis, one of my personal favourites. The sound of a generation, and who absolutely dominated the 90s. Formed in 1991 and originally called The Rain, the band hadn't quite found their feet until Noel joined and took over their creative direction and became their prime poetic songwriter. Swapping Friday nights out partying and clubbing for perfecting their craft and tirelessly rehearsing at the boardwalk. Oasis was born and an immense legacy lay ahead for them. Now Noel and Liam live the high life with money to burn. But where did it all begin? Here we are in Burnage, South Manchester, outside the iconic house where Liam and Noel spent their humble beginnings, where Noel learned how to write and how to strum, and where Liam carved and honed his swagger so well that even Ian Brown was jealous. From a working class suburb of Manchester to the most recognised faces in the country, it just shows that if you truly believe in yourself and work hard enough at it, you are free to be whatever you choose. Arguably winning the gold medal at the breakup Olympics, leaving the likes of Radiohead and Pulp behind them in a blur. Their timeless albums ranging from Definitely Maybe to... Hold on a minute, just realised something. That's better. So from Definitely Maybe to What's the Story, Morning Glory, through to Be Here Now and Standing on the Shoulders of Giants, right through to Dig Out Your Soul, Oasis's catalogue of music has provided this country with some of the biggest anthems we've ever heard. Live Forever, Champagne Supernova, Don't Look Back in Anger, Supersonic, Slide Away, and Diggsy's Dinner. What a life it would be if you could come to mine for tea. I'll pick you up at 3:30. We'll have lasagna. Here we are, just like that. Here's a nice bit of lasagna. Have a nice bite of that. It's frozen. Whose idea was that? Right, get it. Whose idea was that? And would you look at that? An absolute pair of legends. Liam Gallagher and Manny from the Stone Roses. Oh, and there's me on the right with the world's worst hairdo. Now the odds are that any venue that can hold 70,000 plus has been conquered by the mighty Burnage Beatles, ranging from Wembley, both Wembleys, to Nebworth, to the main stage at Glastonbury, to one of my personal favourites, Heaton Park. What great memories. One of my favourite ever gigs is when Oasis played Heaton Park back in 2009. They played over 4 days to hundreds of thousands of people. Now I was there on the Thursday and the Sunday. Well, what was funny about the Thursday was that after a couple of songs, the generator went, the power went, and basically everyone was stood there for about an hour, not knowing what was going on. Oasis walked off stage. Then a sign came up saying we're having technical issues. When they came back on stage about an hour later, Noel or Liam shouted, "Right everyone, this is going to be a free gig. Let's have it." So they said anyone that's kept their ticket, you can get a refund. They must have thought afterwards, oh shit, we're going to lose millions here. So the genius of what they did is anyone that tried to refund their ticket, Oasis sent a cheque to these people saying from the Bank of Burnage with signatures from Noel and Liam. So that many people actually didn't cash in their cheques and they kept them as a souvenir. What a very smart marketing move that was. Oasis travelled all around the world, gifting us their epic sound for almost 20 years. But fortunately, all good things must come to an end. And in 2009, sadly it did. After Oasis unfortunately split, Liam instantly formed BDI, which didn't really take off that well. They had a couple of good tunes. One of them was The Roller, which I personally thought was quite good. Noel Gallagher kicked off straight away with The High Flying Birds, which did really well. There was some cracking tunes on that, and he's still doing well to this day with it. Liam was lost for a bit. He did his clothing brand. He tried bits and bobs, but nothing really took off until quite recently, the past 3, 4, 5 years, when his solo career absolutely went into the stratosphere. He's had 3 or 4 back-to-back #1 albums, and he's actually now outselling Noel. There's been absolutely stupid money offered to Noel and Liam to reform the band, but as it stands, fortunately, it remains a stalemate. There's millions and millions of us all over the world who would love to see Oasis just one more time, and I'm one of them. So hopefully, they'll listen up and reform the band. Let's have it! Now it's a secret as to why Manchester produces some of the biggest bands and artists in the history of the world. I'm going to tell you it now. That's a secret to being successful and being a massive band. Don't tell anybody.